episode 2 of the Survivor podcast. If you want to watch, it's called Reality Overload. If Allie and Jillian ever decide to actually upload anything else,
probably not, but we can pretend.
So Survivor started. It was a 2-hour episode that I didn't expect. I thought they would start with 1, but they started with 2. And then when I heard it was 2, I thought there's only going to be 1 elimination. Yeah. I thought there'd be 1 elimination. They'd just do this long intro of...
They got right to it.
They did.
I mean, I personally love that it was 2 hours. It gave you so much
information to digest.
Right.
And, yeah.
I think we needed that to kind of see what the players were like and see how the dynamic was already starting between all of them. So I thought 2 hours was perfect for the first episode.
Yeah, no, I thought it was good. A lot of information. It let me kind of re-familiarize myself with the people and remember how they played and who they were and were they an evil player before, a good player before, and it was good.
I needed that, but I also needed... I'm still learning because I didn't start watching until I think
Wendell he would ask me like,
Ben
who's
won.
that again, or is that this person? And I'd say yeah. So he's catching on because he didn't know all the people.
Slow learner. But that island, the 2 boats came in, one all the men, all the women. I thought
10
at first,
and 10. It was even split.
But that little island, it was like probably in high tide, doesn't exist or something. But
Yeah, it was super cool, that aerial shot, because it was like a little, like almost like a little sand dune kind of peeking out of the ocean. It was pretty cool.
Right. I don't think they've ever done that really before. Normally it's like right on the beach, right where they're going to be. So I was just kind of like, what is this going to play into? But it really probably was nothing. I thought it was just
then they did the toast.
Yes,
they did the toast, and then they threw all the glasses. Don't worry, all you Greenpeace people, I'm sure they picked up. Some minion picked up all those glasses.
Yeah, it was cool. And Jeff Probst, he said a drink before war is always a good idea. That was his kind of kickoff for the season. I thought it was perfect. Just as a side note, too, when they first started, they were chatting on the island before they even got into the toast or anything, and Sandra already started bitching.
She was pissed.
She was already pissed at Rob because she was just with him for 36 days for Island of the Idols, and he never said anything to her.
Yes, but did she say anything to him?
I wonder
That's
the
what
same
I said
thing.
too.
I wonder the same thing. Like
if you didn't give up that information, why would he give
Well, I
up
wonder with
information
how
too?
mad she was she openly talking about it with him and he didn't come up for air? I don't know. We'll never know the true story.
That's
but,
true.
You know, we don't.
We might. They might talk about it at
because I know, like, we knew Rob and Amber knew because they're husband and wife. You can't keep that from each other, really. That you're going away from your 4 daughters for possibly 39 days.
Yes.
But,
because she said, later on in the episode, they were at the well. She said Rob told her he wouldn't play again.
yes, he did say that. He said he would not come back out and play. So she was emotional about it. Which I guess is the best way.
Is rightfully so. I mean,
put it.
I think when you're with someone for that long, and and you both love Survivor in that way, I think that eventually, wouldn't you want? I mean, is it a secret or could they openly talk about it? I'm not sure.
I don't
But
know.
anyway.
Yeah.
So the buffs, this was really cool to me.
This was interesting. Yeah.
So it was normally they kind of don't they randomly draw for buffs?
No, I think when in past seasons they've started the season coming to the island in the tribes they're going to be on. Where this season they came out as men and women and then got their buffs when they got there. But it
was
wasn't
predetermined.
it wasn't a random draw. Their names were on the buffs they picked up. So we have the Blue tribe, which is the Sele tribe, I believe they pronounce it that way. And it's Rob, Natalie, Ethan, Parvati, Ben, Michelle, Danny, Denise, Jeremy, and Adam. And the Red tribe is DeCall, I think they said it was called. And that's Tony, Wendell, Amber, Kim, Sophie, Nick, Sarah, Yule, Sandra, and Tyson.
So when I dug into this earlier, I realized that in the episode, I think it was Wendell or Ben. Ben brought up the new school versus the old school. And you could tell the producers did a really good job of mixing them.
Intermixing everything.
But they also put people on same tribes, like to split up, they split up Rob and Amber.
Yep.
Which we knew that was going to happen. And then they included people that had played previously together.
In the past. Yeah.
Jeremy and Natalie.
Yep. Jeremy and Natalie played together. They got along together. Sandra was with
Tony. Yep.
Who
And Tony was with Sarah.
Tony.
They all were together.
Right.
Yeah.
In
But
Game
Tony
Changers,
and Sandra had issues.
So in Game Changers, what they recapped in the show is that Sandra had gotten Tony voted out like second in Game Changers, and Sarah and Tony were close because they're both cops. So then Sarah then turned around and had Sandra voted out of game. That was the one season that Sandra played that she didn't win of the 3.
And then they included, this was interesting too, Tyson, Rob, and Kim. They called them the Poker Alliance, which I thought was funny because I guarantee you at one point or during that time, there's no way that Tyson thought. I mean, he joked when they're playing poker, like, we should form an alliance. We were playing.
It was actually 4 of them. It was Tyson, Rob, Kim, and Jeremy.
Yes.
They were all. It was a charity thing they were at.
What was the timeline? Like how? I don't think I caught this. How long ago?
Years ago.
It was years ago, and like Kim said towards the end, we're getting ahead of ourselves. But as Kim said towards the end, it was 3.5 hours of them playing together, and Tyson made a funny joke. Oh my God, if the 4 of us are ever playing Survivor, we'll be the Power Alliance, is what he said. And I think it was just in jest.
It was.
They were all together playing. But it came to kind of be scuttlebutt later.
What was funny, though, is Yul remembered that. That was one thing that he came to the island with, and he focused on that a lot during that first episode.
I believe they said it was like 13 years since Yul's played. So he was one of the older school players. That was Ethan. I don't think Yul played in that season.
Really?
No, I thought Ethan was season 1.
Ethan season 3. Yul, I know, was like 13 years or so. He was a while ago. But Ethan was season 3 in Africa. But anyways, we got ahead of ourselves. Also,
so tell us about the fire tokens.
Fire tokens. So fire tokens are the new currency this year. And everyone is starting with 1. And if you get voted out, you can bequeath or give them to somebody else.
You have to, right?
You have to. So as people get voted out, as we saw, they have a table like this with all the little boxes, everyone's name on it, and you pick and put it in there. And nobody knows you're getting it. It ends up being in your stuff. Like later in the episode, I think Jeremy opened his stuff and then he had a little
Which I think this is going to play a really, really big role once you get farther on in the game. It's going to become a great advantage. I think this is a great addition to the game. I think it's going to make the play more interesting in terms of who you're giving them to, because it's going to be Alliance at some point where they're going to come back from.
Yes.
Is it not Redemption Island? Or
Edge of Extinction.
Edge of Extinction, yeah. So I really, really like this addition to this.
Yeah, and from what we found out, you can get different foods. There was like a coffee, I think, on the one. Comfort, some blankets and pillows.
Yep.
You also can buy idols, I think, at one point.
Good for 3 tribals, I believe.
Yeah, so like there's different things there, and I couldn't catch everything in the, and I even looked on trying to find a picture of it, and I couldn't today. They brought back the Edge of Extinction, which I don't think any players did. Nick play on Edge of Extinction? No.
Yes.
No.
Nick was Edge of Extinction.
No, he wasn't. It was Mom's one player. The season after Nick won, he's not on there. So nobody that played in Edge of Extinction initially is on the show. It was a different guy.
Yes.
I can't think of his name right now, but it wasn't.
Tall, skinny guy.
Yeah, but he's not on the show.
Because he went to the island and then came back and won.
And then won. That's my mom's person. I can't remember his name.
Or she won. Laura, I still need your PayPal.
So I think that all shocked them. Then the biggest shocker of the night was when Jeff was like, as fun as it is to play for $1 million, how about playing for 2? And they went freaking nuts.
Banana
like, it's
Lands.
insane. It's the biggest, I think, game show pot in history to get paid $2 million to win a reality show.
Which I think this is rightfully so. I think they're the best of the
winners
best,
of the winners.
You know?
Yeah, exactly.
And it even makes the playing more interesting. I mean, it's $2 million. I mean,
it does. It's crazy.
So the first challenge, I mean, they like you said, they got right to it. I thought it was kind of aggressive. Like,
yeah.
it was like throwing a worm in a chicken coop. You just throw it out there and they just like flock
what was
to it.
crazy, I think the people, my headset's driving me nuts. I think the people that have played more, shut up. The people that have played more recently, it wasn't as crazy for them. The people that are the old school, the Ethans, the Robs, the Yules, they were used to a slower gameplay where it was more about the social aspect of the game, and getting to know everybody. And this was like balls to the wall. We're going to play. And we're
Someone's
going
going
to
home. Well, you're not going home, but someone's getting voted.
Yeah, exactly. So this first challenge was a competition to get to 3 points. You got a point basically by teams of 2 from each tribe competing in the water against each other to get to almost like a life ring. Would be get it off the hook it's on and then fight with the other 3 people, one being your teammate, to get it to the pole of your color. If you can have the ring and touch the pole, you got the point. First team to 3 won. The reward was you got flint for fire and you had immunity. It was kind of a both. It was a reward
rice.
and immunity and rice. Exactly.
By the way, the immunity idol, that is awesome.
It
It's
is
one of the cooler
super
ones I've ever seen.
Todd actually said last night, he goes, it looks like, what's that guy called from Jeff Dunham? Oh, Ahmed.
Ahmed, it does.
He literally kept
It
saying
does,
it. I kill you. It was just funny that he kept.
It's probably
bringing
one of
it
the
up.
cooler ones I've ever
Yeah.
seen.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
that's
curious to
interesting.
see when we get to like individual immunity what that necklace
It'll
looks
be a
like.
gaudy necklace.
I know, but maybe they'll make it cool like this. Because usually they kind of resemble each other in some way. And the other kicker was the losing tribe didn't go right to tribal council that night. They had to wait a whole day. So it kind of sent everybody back to camp, and then you got to see the scramble happen.
And the strategies
Dip
forming and the
deep.
alliances and all of that.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that was better than going right to
because they
tribal
actually
council.
got to talk and get to know each other because they didn't all know each other. There was a lot of
Right.
connections, but people came in not knowing anybody.
So the first challenge, I mean, the one that stood out to me was, and it continued was, so Rob literally just took over. I mean,
And
the only point they scored was because of Rob.
Yeah,
And then
so
the last group that went out, Sarah made it look pretty easy.
She was a boss. I'm telling you, I'm so jealous I
first
don't have her.
match was for the red tribe to call was Tyson and Yule versus Ethan and Jeremy from blue, and of course
Yule.
Yule won with Tyson. Second match, Sarah played in two of them. Sarah and Kim came out and they beat Parvati and Natalie. So it was already 2-0. So the third match came out and they sent Ben and Rob out for the blue team, and they ended up beating Tony and Wendell to at least get a point on the board.
Yep.
And then Amber and Sarah came out, and that was a battle against Denise and Natalie.
They got really close to the pole.
And Sarah kept pulling and pulling and pulling, and
She's
Sarah
so
is a
strong.
beast. Yeah,
Yeah.
she kicked ass at that, and so that was pretty cool.
And then, I mean, the point that Parvati scored, Blue was so close to like grabbing the pole.
Yes, and
And
she,
then all of a sudden it just started going the other way.
Drifting,
And
yep.
that was, I think it was a big turning point in that because then
Yeah.
they started to press to get the other points. But then when I get back to camp, I think one of the things is it was a typical scenes for camp. People start searching for bamboo. They start building a hut. And of course, Wendell gets assigned to build the hut. Now this guy can build a hut.
so in Wendell's season, he had built a lot of stuff. He built the hut. He built chairs. He built a lot of things, and he didn't want to get stuck in that role this year. But as he was doing it,
He wanted to socialize.
but he realized he was able to socialize this time because you didn't have the people running off, so they thought, to search for idols because they're all winners. They're all, they know how to play the game, not to draw attention to yourself. And Denise and Adam wander off. I do believe they
Of
were
course,
really,
my guy.
I think they were really looking for the watering hole.
I think so,
and they
too.
did get turned around, but because they were gone for so long, it put a freaking target on their
It
backs.
would raise questions. How can it not? I mean, it's sketchy no matter what. First day and you're already going off doing whatever. I mean, every right that they felt like that. But of course, it was my guy, and I was getting pissed because they all thought
Wendell
that.
called out Tony. See, how come you're not out looking for an idol? And it cut back
Oh,
to
I
old
missed
scenes
that.
of him like
Yeah.
running circles around the island, literally running.
Yeah, and Tony's like, I want to, but I can't do that. It'll draw too much attention. Just some other random things that during like little brief interviews that kind of came up at this point was Tyson revealed that since he won, he's been a stay-at-home dad.
Yeah.
He's been able to do that and be with. I think he has 2 daughters. He talked about,
Yep.
and it's hard for him to be out here. He said, because I can stay at home, I see my kids every single day, and Tyson's my player. I think he's kind of douchey sometimes,
Yeah.
but like
He's not
seeing
my
that,
fave.
seeing that tender side of him, it was kind of cool.
Who was was it Parvati that has
Parvati has a 10-month-old baby at home. I don't know how she left, knowing that it could be 40 days almost you're gone for. Like your child's going to be celebrate its first birthday.
Rob and Amber have 4 kids at home.
Yeah.
$2 million.
Right. That's your motivation.
No, that's
But
the motivation.
they didn't know at first. But even so, I mean,
It
$1
was for $1
million.
million.
$1 million,
Like, come on.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
40 days.
Something else that Ethan brought up. So yeah, Ethan played in 2003. He was the 3rd season in Africa. They had no immunity idols at that time. This game has evolved so much from when it was originally started that he said, I have so much to learn. Even though I've played before and I've won, I have so much to learn about this game because it's so different.
Same with Yule. He felt the same way.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
So it's some things that I noticed about. So after the Blue Tribe gets, basically they have to decide they're going to go to a tribal council. Which, by the way, the tribal council area, the coolest I've ever seen.
Yeah, it was
I
pretty
thought it was pretty cool. But some things I noticed, like Rob and Parvati, who should have had big targets on their back, didn't, and they
Yeah.
were running the show.
Yeah.
I mean, but they even said though they were they thought maybe something was going against them because they're like,
they felt so comfortable.
You know,
yeah.
like, why are we feeling like this right now?
So Danny threw out Rob's name.
Yeah.
And then Rob just went straight to her and said, hey, I heard you threw out my name. And because she said yes.
She was straightforward and she talked to him, woman to man, like, of course I threw your name out. Like, you know this. He was like, well, now I'm willing to work with you because you were just honest with me.
Right.
You could have tried to lie and I would have been like, you're gone.
Right.
But the other funny thing is that Rob and Parvati are working together. In another season they were in together, they were enemies.
Rob tried to vote her out and she eventually voted him out.
Yeah. So that's when he said, I know we were enemies before. We're trying to get off on the right foot this time and work together. So that was kind of cool.
Which that could be a boss alliance, I feel.
Yeah.
I mean, at one point you'll vote out one of it, but to get down to that place.
And it's hard because I don't even think about who my players are, but in my head I'm like, am I rooting for the old school or the new school? Because it's different play for sure. And good in its own right, but like it's like, well, who do you want to see succeed? Because like Ben, when he ran to Rob and said that, Ben was kind of kicking himself. Like, I shouldn't have told him, but I'm such in awe of him because he's such a, legend that I'm in awe that I just kept word vomiting and telling him everything that was being said about him.
You got to be careful too. Like we've seen in years past, if you try to become that dominant player where you're manipulating everybody, it goes the other way. People get sick of it and they're like, okay, you're doing too much. You're probably out of here.
Right.
And then it was at Tribal that.
So then that was all day one.
Yeah.
A lot happened in day one. And then day two, now it's Tribal Day. So everyone wakes up and is scrambling. I don't think anybody slept. Everyone's paranoid.
The most paranoid I've ever seen.
Yeah, it was chaos. And then we start to see kind of who is working together on the Blue Sele tribe. Natalie and Jeremy, who had played together previously, they started working together and were trying to make stuff happen. Denise and Adam, the two that got caught going to get water and being gone for too long, they kind of linked up because they now know they're going to have a target on their back. Even though they weren't searching for idols.
And he actually wanted to be the new, she called him the new Jungle Boy too.
Yes, because in her season, she had a young kid that kind of looked out for her. And
which is funny.
And then Parvati and Rob, that's what you're talking about, were very confused this morning. They both are like, I feel comfortable and don't think I should feel comfortable, but I do. And so it was kind of strange. But then it cuts to Tribal. Of course, the water situation comes up about being gone from camp.
So I highlighted this last night and wrote it down today. I think Denise did have a target on her back. But I also think Denise saved herself
by coming clean.
By just saying, I screwed up. I made a rookie mistake. I disappeared. But we were looking for the water because she openly admitted, like, I knew it was a mistake.
Yeah.
Because she probably figured, like, I'm going to get water. I'll be right back. But if they truly got lost, then I could see where that was an issue. But because she came right out and said, I messed up. It was a rookie mistake. We got lost looking for water. It's like nobody could try to accuse her of looking for an idol or you were gone too long because she just openly admitted like, I was gone too long.
What else was funny in this moment is they're calling out Adam and Denise. I think Rob called Adam and Denise out. And Denise, very calm, cool, collected, says we were looking for water, even though you don't think I was. That's what I was doing. Adam immediately gets on the defense, and I know he's your person. I don't like him either. It drives me nuts.
I know.
And he's like, well, what about Rob? He's married to somebody from the other tribe, like trying to put a target on him. And Rob, his second time getting picked, he was pissed when he talked to Danny, but he calmed down because she came clean. But then he's like, there's other connections here too.
Right.
Like, you can't keep bringing up that I'm married to Amber. Like, there's other people that have played together before or are friends with the game or whatever. Like, there's so many connections.
It got brought up a lot because it was the obvious one people could grab onto.
And also, it's from the same house. So they have a double chance.
Bigger chance. Yeah.
I mean, Jeremy's not going to share with Natalie. Just of those types of things where it's just a target.
Yeah.
But Jeremy realized what was going on.
So, he leans over to Ben and he's like,
did Rob and
whispering
Parvati
about Rob and Parvati. Are they doing something? Do they have something going on? And Ben said, like, we'll talk later or something because they couldn't really talk then. And they voted. And Natalie was blindsided. She had no idea. She thought she was fine.
These tribals are always tough, I think, for the first one, especially this one because they're all winners. It's tough because what do you go off from to vote them out? It's not like they did anything. Nobody really had a poor performance in the.
No, they were just looking at who has a connection that we can try to break up because we don't want to have a power couple. We don't want to have two people that are linked together, get momentum in this game, and be able to kind of start corrupting other people and getting them into their alliance and then becoming this, superpower.
So I wrote something down tonight. This because the paranoia was like at an all-time high. Mm-hmm. So Natalie, Danny, Sophie, Ben, Michelle, Wendell, Adam, Yule, Kim, Denise, and Nick. Do you know what they all have in common?
No.
Every one of them only played once and they won their only season. They've never been voted off, ever.
Oh.
They might have felt like what it was like to be on the bottom or felt like they were on the outskirts, but they've never been voted off.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So as soon as Natalie's name is starting to get read before even the final vote is read, Jeremy is fuming.
Yeah.
You see in his
and
eyes.
he's my other player. He is pissed. And he was immediately asking Ben, like, who organized to vote her off? And Ben's like, we'll talk later when we get back to camp.
Yep.
So Natalie
He knew.
exits. She's upset, rightfully so. In Natalie's season she was in, she was competing, and her twin sister was also on the show, and her twin sister was the first one voted off that season.
Yes.
And so I think it was surreal for her to now be the first one voted off this season. Even though you don't go home, you were still voted off, but you have a chance to get back in the game.
Yeah.
So as she's exiting, she gives her fire token to Jeremy.
Obviously, yeah.
And then she goes to Edge of Extinction, and she did learn there that you also can earn fire tokens there to get yourself back in the game.
And they've confirmed there's obviously, I think there's going to be more than two. Wasn't it the Edge of Extinction? There was two
Challenges to get back in.
I think there's going to be more than two.
Probably.
They might do it a few more
Because
times,
they've
yeah.
made it aware that people are at the island. So
Right.
So whose player was that?
That's Stacy's player.
Right.
Well, let's call Stacy
We'll give
and see
Stacy a
what
rating.
Stacy is. She seemed upset earlier.
She was a little mad
Let's
in the text
console
messages.
Stacy.
But hurt, yeah.
Stacy's mom. Let's go.
I'll be calling her later.
We're calling you Stace. You better pick up.
Hello.
Hi,
Hello.
Stace.
Stacy.
Hi, I'm the loser. I know.
You're on episode 2. How does it feel?
You said what?
You're on episode 2.
Episode 2 of the podcast.
Oh, episode 2 of the podcast. Oh, I feel pretty sad. Yeah.
But you're not
I
done.
think she's gonna come back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she-
I'm
you're
not
I
not
think
done.
she's a strong
gonna come
player,
back.
yeah.
She'll be a fighter.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not a fan of her though. So I kind of don't want her. I'll trade with you guys.
It's going to cost you 20
Too
bucks. You don't want to trade with us.
Hey,
you want
we
to trade
should
with
do
Laura.
that.
Yeah, Laura's
We
got
should
the.
play like they're playing with the coins. We should play too. We can buy each other's players.
Ooh.
Ooh, I could be a good spin for next
To
season.
think about this.
Have our own fire tokens.
Do you think there's anything she could have done to not get eliminated? I mean, she's
she
not
could have not
eliminated.
been such good friends with Jeremy. That was pretty obvious.
Yeah.
Or maybe played it a little differently of not kind of making that known.
So buddy.
She
Yeah.
should have like talked with other people too. I feel like she didn't communicate that much.
Yeah,
to
I feel like they
anybody
didn't try to make an alliance with anybody. It was just the two of
They
them.
else.
kept
No,
to
everyone was
themselves.
just too worried about seeing each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you're not out. You're down.
I'm
but
not
you're not
out.
out.
Thank you.
I mean,
I think
she's
I'm
gonna
gonna
get
come
some.
back.
She's
I
gonna get
think
some
so, too.
R&R. She's gonna sit on that island, get a sweet tan.
Yeah.
Yes, she's going to be really pretty. But she also is playing from the outside. She said that at the very end. She's playing from the outside, still affecting the game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Give that
Yes.
idol into Sandra. You know what I mean? So she's still touching the game. She's
That's
not
what's
done
really
yet.
cool about this season. As much as you're voted out this season on Edge of
Still can
Extinction,
affect.
there's other
Mhm.
effects you can cause in the game.
Yeah, last time it has, you
Yes.
just sat on the island.
And
You
that
didn't really
poor
do anything.
Reem sat there the
Yeah,
whole
you
time.
don't really see much of them here and there. So that's kind of cool.
Reem was
Even though I'm
medium
voted
rare
out,
at the end of
still
that.
there.
Yeah. Reem was leather after that season. She was out there for so many days.
Yes,
Um,
poor lady.
Who's your other player?
Kim.
Oh, she almost got
Started
voted
crying.
She
out.
don't-
Yeah.
yes. Oh my God,
Yeah.
yes.
You were almost Marty this season.
So we were just talking
yeah,
about
I will be Marty still.
Kim is actually one of 11 players who's only ever played one season, and they won that season.
well, good for her, but I don't think she's, I don't know. I'm trying to root for her because she's my player, but
Yeah.
Not a
she's
fan.
really emotional.
Yeah.
But
She
you
did.
know, last
Yeah.
season I had the cuckoo lady. I don't even remember her name right now, but I didn't think she would last. But she ended up sitting there in the final 3, so we'll see.
Oh, who was that?
the one. She talks nonstop. I can't remember her name, but
right now, but I feel like I can.
Oh, she was the one. Was she the one that's like, "But I got rice"? Was that her?
Yeah.
yes, I think
She
so,
ended
yeah.
every sentence with, "But I got rice."
Yes. Yep, that's her.
Okay, yeah.
Oh,
Lady.
yeah, God.
And she didn't get a single vote. She was awful.
Mm-hmm.
But she got
She was
rice.
awful, but you know what? I really thought the whole entire time, as soon as I was assigned her, the first episode, I'm out. But no, she held on. So
It's because she got
Natalie
rice,
might
Stacy.
come back.
I think she's gonna come back strong.
Yeah, right.
Because she's a
Maybe Natalie will send
CrossFitter,
rice.
if I remember. Natalie is. So she's strong. She'll be
Yes.
good
She
in
came in
challenges.
looking-
Physically strong.
Physically
Yeah.
fit, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, Stace.
All right. Well, hopefully you're not calling me next week.
I hope
Hopefully
not.
Calling
not.
your mom soon. Whoop whoop.
All right. I'll talk to you
Bye.
guys later.
See ya.
Bye.
So Stacy's okay. She's not too emotional.
No,
at the
I
moment.
mean,
No, it's okay.
optimistic is a great thing to have. I mean, it's literally episode 1. She's coming back. I mean, it was so quick. It happened. I mean, and I think that island is going to have a great impact. I mean,
It's crazy now because like you guys said, they can do so much to influence the game because they're able to send things in and send things to certain people they want, and nobody knows. Like nobody knows that Sandra has the idol she now has because she didn't find it anywhere, so no one's gonna know.
right.
And Natalie and Sandra have no connection that I'm aware of to put it be like that they would know she has it. You know what I mean?
Well, you don't choose who it goes to. Well, you do, but
Yeah.
you have to know who the losing tribe is.
Right. It has to be from the losing tribe. So had the other team, had Natalie's
would've-
team lost again, she would have given it to Jeremy. No question asked.
yeah.
She already
Oh,
gave
for
him
sure. But I
player
think
token.
the thing is, if you give it to Sandra, they refer to her as the queen.
Yeah.
So if you want to, I mean, she's proven to win twice. Like, why wouldn't you make an alliance with her? She's very dominant.
Why wouldn't you vote her off? I love Sandra. I love her. She's like a badass woman, but like she's already won twice.
The whole time last night, Mom kept saying, "Get her off! Why are we keeping her? I don't understand what the issue was. Like,
'Cause your
let's
mom
get
has-
her off."
Rob
And Ben.
and Ben still need that pay bill.
Anywho,
Anyways, back to the program. Day 3 came, and Sandra was at the watering hole with Yule and Sarah. And she again was talking about how hurt she was, that Rob didn't tell her. And this is where she on air said that he told me he would not come back out here and play.
Yep.
So I think that's why she's mad, because he said that. Had they not talked about it,
it wouldn't have been an issue.
I don't think it would have been an issue. But because she's claiming he said these words to me that he wouldn't come out here.
Which almost makes me think they did talk about it.
Right. And so that's why it's weird to me. Why didn't he tell her?
But did he not know at
Or-
that time?
Maybe she was talking about it and he brought it up and was like, oh, I wouldn't play again.
At that time, he already knew.
I want to know.
They already knew.
Me too.
Rob,
It'll eventually
us.
come out.
Shit floats.
And Sandra did said at that point that she was gunning for Amber because she was pissed off.
That's right.
And so
Rightfully so.
how is the best way to get back at Rob is to vote his wife off the show. So then we have some other kind of alliances starting to happen. Yule, Wendell, Nick, and Sophie, because they felt like they were,
The old school, new school.
but they felt
On the
like
outside, kind
on
of.
the outside. They felt like they were on the outside. They didn't have any other connection. So because they're kind of there alone, those 4 teamed up. And that could be dangerous for
I
everybody
think it's
else.
a strong
It's a strong
alliance, and
move.
because you're not expecting it, and they even said that
Exactly.
they're not expecting all of us to be together.
Exactly. I think because it's going to be like under the radar.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know because they don't have any other reason to be connected except they don't have anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when Michelle and Ben were talking about wanting to get the old school out.
Right.
So Michelle and Ben could actually team up with those. Like Yule was a long time ago. Wendell, Nick, and Sophie were a little more recent. So they could all team up together and they would have the numbers. They'd have 6
Yeah.
right there.
I don't think it'll play out like that, but it's going to depend
No,
on
I
who
know,
wins
but
challenges.
It was just
and
kind of
I think
trying to think ahead a little bit.
you'll start to get an idea of who you want. If they're smart, they vote out the people who are the weakest in challenges. Granted, most of these people shouldn't be because they were
We've
winners.
done it before. Yeah.
So
then we went back to the edge of extinction and kind of got to see Natalie now there in daylight because she showed up there at nighttime.
she gets a message in a bottle.
Yeah, she found the fire token price list to kind of tell her what she can get for fire tokens. It talked about idols, advantages, and like food and drink, I believe was kind of the gist of what
Yes.
it showed there. And she was given a riddle. The riddle was something about go to the place where you see the sunset last or
Yeah.
something. I don't know.
Journey to Where the Sun Sets Last or something.
And so she solved it. She hiked up this big ass hill and
I remember them
went over
hiking that hill at one time for something else.
They were searching for stuff before.
Yep.
And she found it, and she found an immunity idol, but it was no use to her on Extinction, and she was able to sell it to a player, but it had to be from whatever tribe lost the next immunity challenge, and she would pick the player she wanted to go to, and they have to then pay her 1 fire token.
That's right.
Yes.
They had to pay. I mean, they all
as
had
much as
one.
she's gifting it to her,
She had to
you
give them
still have to pay for it.
Yep.
Which I would have done that. No questions asked. Take that.
Exactly.
And say, "Yep, here's my fire token." I don't even care.
I don't remember exactly when they were first talking about the fire tokens at the beginning of the challenge. When they have a regular reward challenge, are they going to be gifted more fire tokens that way? That was the one thing I was confused about.
I don't think they went into it last night. We'll probably find out. There'll be ways for them to earn fire tokens.
Okay.
Maybe like if you win an immunity challenge, you also get a fire token or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll find out.
Well, they've done immunity. And I wonder if that's part of like the reward because they've won immunity and no one's gotten anything more.
Yeah.
Like they all started out with one. So they get to the next immunity challenge, and they had to sit out one player from Dakal.
She raised her hand,
and so Sandra was
pretty
like,
quick.
pick me. And so she sat out.
The queen.
So this was a pretty intense challenge. They had to get in a boat and row a boat all the way out to the third obstacle. Get a person out, untie the bag,
Right.
get back to the second obstacle, all get out, go up these these really tall wooden stairs, jump back in the water.
Which I still believe Jeremy could have reached the dock. He like just floated by it, like at least attempt to try to grab with your paddle.
Well, that's the thing too. So then
Rob just takes
Sele
over.
tribe got enough to a bad start. They hit the obstacle, they got stuck, they couldn't get around it. Then they missed it and they couldn't grab it. Then the third thing they had to do, it was like a barrel roll in the water, it was really high, so it was hard for them to reach.
Was a
This is where Rob took over, and he just
Dakal, the red tribe, had the early lead, and so the Sele tribe's trying to catch up, and they start to catch up at the barrel roll because Rob starts going underwater, putting girls on his shoulders, and just hoisting them and throwing them over this barrel roll. They still couldn't catch up. The other team still gets ahead of them because Jeremy can't get over the barrel roll. Like Rob's putting him on his shoulders and pushing him over. Finally, Ethan wises up, gets on Ben's shoulders on the other side of the barrel roll, and grabs, and they pull him over.
Yeah.
They pull him over, and then Rob's like, "Grab me," because he couldn't get himself up.
Yeah,
and they
so
pulled him over.
Make another bridge on the other side and start hoisting him up. Yeah.
That was a pretty intense area. So then once they got back to the sand, they had to use the bag they got with the 3 numbers to undo the combination line.
time out. The queen's on the sidelines. The red tribe gets over the barrel and they're struggling. Like blue tribe's still struggling.
Yeah.
And they're like, you can hear them struggling. I think Jeff said something like doing his commentary about how they're struggling. And Tony's like running on the beach.
Tony turns around.
He's like looking and she's like, "Tony, pay attention this way." And she's like giving orders.
Oh my gosh. So they get up there and then they had 3 rings they had to throw onto 3 pegs that were varying distances away. And they immediately, Dakal gets one on. They're trying.
And then Jeremy,
Wendell misses.
Jeremy and Ben get up there and your sister says, "Oh my gosh, Jeremy's terrible at this."
Not this. Jeremy, I love him. He's my player. I'm rooting for him. But he wasn't always, I feel like, the best in challenges in the past. I know he's won before.
I don't remember.
But I feel like he would be like, "Oh, pick me for this, and then like not be very good at it.
Right.
Like from what I remember. And so I'm like, "Oh dear Lord, he's up there," and makes one.
Yep.
Makes one. Makes one. They come back and they win. I was shocked.
Which they
were
deserved.
shocked.
After what Rob pulled out in the water, they
Yeah.
deserved to win that
They
challenge.
did.
I agree.
So it was cool. They celebrated. Rob is immediately worried about Amber.
Immediately, and then we find out why. So the next scene's going to Sandra just acting like a bumblebee, flying around, just
This was
pollinating
hilarious.
flowers.
This was
She
so
was like,
funny.
"Zzz, our name's out there. Your name's." She was like Oprah, and you get a car, and you get a car.
And your name's
the
been
shit
mentioned,
pot.
and your name's been mentioned.
Yes, and then we find out it's because she got an idol. She doesn't care, so she can
Which I
play.
wouldn't care either.
Yeah, she's playing as aggressive as possible. And I think I saw
She said
more-
something about, "I'm spreading truth, lies, and rumors."
Yeah.
She wants to spread it all. Just then it's not her.
Yep. And then there was the most paranoia I saw was out of that tribe. When they went back and they had to go to tribal and they had to figure out, this is where people were like, I don't know what to do.
The
Kim,
funniest thing was Yul comes back and he goes, can we all just like talk about it and just be very upfront about it? And somebody else, I can't remember who was like, that'll be the first time in history that happens if we do that right now. So no.
And then they're all worried, and the most paranoid was Kim.
Yeah.
So the names that were thrown out were Amber. Sandra's name got thrown out at one point.
Yep.
Nick, Tony, Kim. Because when Tony's name got mentioned, all of a sudden Sandra comes over and she's like, they're throwing your name out.
Yeah.
And like, I understand them wanting to go after Amber because of Rob.
Yep.
But they kept talking about that stupid poker alliance. And Kim got wrapped in that. Kim, as Stacey was saying, she's like, I hope she does good, but I don't really have faith. I don't think she's a threatening player. I'm not taking anything against her, but she doesn't come off as a huge threat, which is good for her in the long run if she can stick around.
Right.
But to me, for them gunning for her right then, I thought was stupid, frankly. I just thought it was dumb.
It was funny though. Like she said, like last night, they would all be talking. She'd walk up.
And they'd get quiet.
Just crickets.
Yeah.
And every show her like walking up. And then at one
And people are
point,
talking and she walk up and it's just,
the one point she's like, can I announce myself? And she like collapses in the sand like she was going to cry.
yeah.
My only question about this whole thing, especially with this tribe, with Sandra being on it, she's won twice. Why would you keep her around for more than one tribal council?
For
If
them,
she had any inkling though that she was going home, she was going to play that idol.
But
No.
they could have played it
they
off.
could have flushed
so
it. But they could have flushed it. My thing is, how she felt so comfortable is the same way that Rob and Parvati felt so comfortable. Why did they feel comfortable?
I don't understand.
I understand.
Again, we only see
I
bits and
underst-
pieces of behind
No,
the,
I
on the
know.
beach.
But I understand that they're these legends of this game and it's so awe-inspiring to be around them. But at the same time, they're your competition.
Yeah.
Get them the hell out of there.
Right.
Like,
I just don't understand.
I don't know. So Kim starts bringing up the poker alliance again. She goes, there is no poker
was so
alliance.
stupid.
She's like, I don't know what you guys are talking about. It was 3.5 hours. We were together in a room playing poker for charity.
Like,
If
stuff
Tyson
got
would have never,
mentioned, right.
if Tyson would have never made some like half drunk comment of, hey, if we ever run the show again, like
Right.
no one would have ever talked about it.
Yeah. And then Amber made a statement at Tribal before they voted, like, because they kept talking about, well, people are friends. And Amber said, friends or not, this is for $2 million.
Right.
Basically, she was saying, like, all bets are off.
Right.
Like, I'm your friend, but it doesn't constitute and mean I'm going to save you or keep you. Like, I'm playing for $2 million, which I commend her for being very honest. And then they voted. And Amber got sent to the edge of extinction.
Yeah. I mean, I
Amber.
kind of knew it.
I know.
I feel like it was like a inevitable thing to happen. I mean, I'm shocked they didn't get robbed.
It was guaranteed that both of them
Yeah,
were going to
I know.
have a target. You knew they were going to split them up, but it was guaranteed because they were married. Nobody wanted them to go to the end together.
Yeah. They showed a brief preview where
Oh.
Rob already saw that she was gone, and he might have been talking to Parvati, and he was pissed at
Oh, he's
Sandra.
like, yeah,
he
it's
knew it was her. He's like, I'm going for her.
What'd you expect?
So I can't wait to see his reaction when the tribes walk up the next time, and he has to realize for the first time she's been voted off. He's
Yeah.
gonna be fuming at that challenge. He's gonna be so mad.
And he already knows it's Sandra, and he already
But it's
will
a game.
have known. Right.
Well, that's since you went there, that's always something that bothers me. When I think Sandra might have been talking about it, like, well, friendships are going to be broken. Okay, if the three of us are on there, I think we would all understand that there's no hard feelings when we're off this island.
Right.
We are playing for money.
I'm voting your ass off. 100%.
Exactly. That's what I mean. Like, I wouldn't be offended
Right.
by that.
No.
Like, eventually, if we got to a point where we could work together.
I'm kidding. I would not vote you off. I said this when we started the first episode. It'd be stupid. It's your wife. You've increased your odds
No, but say.
of putting that money in your
I
bank.
appreciate that. And I'm not saying I'd vote you up. I'm saying, like, if you go and you have friends.
You
Let's
are
say me
right now.
though. No, but
No, if
me
there's
though,
friends
like-
and you're worried about it, like, I'm still going to be your friend. I'm not attacking you as a person. I'm trying to win money. I'm trying to advance myself in the game. It's not a personal attack. Is there times there was like personal shit last season where the touchy-feely stuff and all that, like, that I thought was so wrong and they crossed a lot of lines. But when you're playing regular and you're trying to be deceitful, you're trying to lie. It's part of the game. It's Survivor. That's one of the things they judge you on in the final 3.
Yep.
Did you deceive people enough? So it's like people need to stop being so touchy about it. It's a game. You're supposed to play hard. You're supposed to try to get to the finals.
So let's call Karen.
I was gonna say I'm ready to call Karen. Woo! We're coming for you.
This really is Stacy's mom.
It is.
Hello.
Karen.
Hey.
Hold on, before we start this,
Hi.
I want to know how many Bud Lights have you had?
0.
What? Are you taking care of Marty?
Are you drinking wine?
Nope, I have a bottle of water.
Oh, Marty does
And
have
yes,
the
I'm
flu.
taking
He's
care
sick.
of Marty. Yes,
My
Marty's
boo thing.
sick. The boo thing's
Well, Marty's
sick.
past episode 1.
And no one's got voted off of
That's a
his.
positive. Yeah.
For you, though, you've
Well, for me,
Amber's on the island.
Well-
She's not done.
I know she's not done, but I think they made a terrible mistake.
Do tell.
Terrible mistake.
We wanna hear.
Because that last challenge, they were ahead. It was a very difficult challenge in the water,
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
getting over that big twirly thing. Oh, Sandra, who's going to sit out? Sandra raises
Right.
her hand because she couldn't have done it.
No, she couldn't have. I even
That-
said that during the challenge.
Right, she couldn't do it. So that team, man, they were way ahead.
Yeah.
They only got beat at the very end, flipping that little thing up there on the
Pole, yeah.
The ring, yeah.
the ring toss. Yeah. So then you get to camp and decide who to vote out. You're going to vote out my girl? Really?
Yeah.
Amber? Really? No.
Before the game even started, she had a target on her
Yeah,
back because
'cause
of
of
her
Rob.
and Rob
Yeah.
being married.
Right.
And that, I mean, it sucks. I understand the gameplay, but if she gets back in the game, which Amber's a fighter, in the season she's
Yeah.
played, she's been very aggressive and nitty gritty, that if she gets back in this game, she's going to be coming for Sandra. Well, Rob's already going to be coming for Sandra
Yeah.
because he's
Yeah.
pissed in the preview.
But I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like Amber was not a threat. I mean, Sandra, and
Well,
I just
yeah.
said this, she should have been a threat because she won 2 times. Or Rob.
Yeah.
Well,
for-
this is the way I look at it. It's too early to be knocking out strong
Mhm.
players that
Mhm.
are going to help you win
Which
challenges.
Sandra can't do challenges.
So what's the next thing? Go after the, because they're all good, obviously.
Yeah.
There
Go
really
after
wasn't a
the
weak player, but if there was
strategic
one, Sandra.
players.
Yeah.
Well, but Sandra can get in your head, so
Mhm.
that's why I thought she should have gone.
Mm-hmm.
She's a very good strategic. She can get in their head. She can manipulate well, but she's not good at the challenges. She's
Right.
good at all the social
a
stuff.
mental.
So
Yeah.
it's too early to break up this, this group and that group. You need the strong. You have to have them.
Yeah, that's
So
very
I thought
true.
that was a big mistake.
It's always been my theory.
And they chose my girl.
Right. Your
And that
Super
makes it
good.
bullshit on itself.
Right.
Exactly. Exactly.
So do you think there's
Yeah.
anything Amber should have done different?
No.
I think it was just the luck of the
Maybe-
draw.
Well,
I mean,
yeah. I
Yeah, the
mean,
first
they-
elimination is like, what do you choose? What's it based on?
yes,
You-
and they were all scrambling around. And once again, Sandra went around and remember she even said, I'm going to spread some lies, some half truths, or
Yeah.
however she had worded
Yep.
it. So she went around and she's just good at that.
Stirring
Already
that shit
started
spot.
manipulating
Shit
and
pot.
so
Shit
everybody
spot.
was looking. Yeah,
She should
everybody
have
was
to lick the
looking
spoon.
around, but I
She
don't
will.
think I just maybe verbally battle it out a little bit more there at tribal council to
Yeah.
make some awareness to others. But I don't think anybody really knew who was going until
I felt like the people who made
the
a
votes
really
were read.
big effort to form an alliance, even though it was early on, didn't go home. I
right.
just feel like
Right.
Amber didn't put a lot of effort into it. So.
She was talking to
Yeah.
Kim and Tyson, people she knew, and wasn't really trying to make
Yeah.
new relationships.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, Rob, though, he's going to be upset when they get to the
Oh, he's
first
Oh my
round
God!
and
On
see
that
he's
preview,
gone.
woo!
Yes, I saw the preview. I went, oh, dear Lord.
Mhm.
He's going to be upset. Yeah.
Well, we're rooting for
So-
Amber to get back in.
Yeah, well, the two there on the island now, I would guess she would make it, but you never know.
You
Mhm.
never know.
If there's going to be a whole bunch there, how will they do it?
Right.
Just one's going to come back.
Yeah.
A little winning the little fire.
Tokens. Yeah. It's a cool
tokens.
spin on it, isn't it?
Yeah, so that's going to be some unknowns that can play into things. So
We've already
very
talked to
interesting.
Stacy, and she had a suggestion that we should have our own fire token so we can trade players. She doesn't like who she has. So.
I wouldn't know who I would want to trade with. I think
Laura.
I'm pretty comfortable.
Yeah.
with
Laura, I
mine.
got tokens
see,
for you.
I don't want
No,
Rob.
they're not- yeah, they're not going to make it to the end. I
I hope
I
not.
just don't think so.
I'm
they're gonna
very
make it far,
intrigued.
but I don't think they're going to make it to the end. I have a prediction that my other guy is going to win.
Who was that
Ethan.
again? Ethan.
I
have a
like
feeling-
Ethan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have a feeling
Old
he
school.
may just scoot on in there to the end.
Yeah.
Does that mean you guys are flying up for the finale?
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Ooh,
Yep.
there it is. You
If
heard it
that
here first.
happens, if that happens,
Alrighty, well,
can I call my mom?
Yes.
Right.
do whatever you want.
Well, tell Marty we said to feel better.
Mhm.
I
And he's not the first
will.
one out. So, I mean,
True.
No, he's still got two. Yep, they're on the same tribe though, so that worries him a little bit.
mhm. Yeah.
You know? So,
All right.
all right. Well, good luck, everybody.
All right. See you later.
Bye.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
So Karen's not upset.
No,
She
I
actually
mean,
thinks her other person's going to win.
Yeah. She's very positive about
for
it.
the first, what do you call it? Not knockout,
vote off.
vote off. I mean, I really think we're being positive. I mean, again,
Yeah.
we
'Cause
have
no one's
edge
gone.
of-
Well, and
right.
like you said, the first couple are always a crapshoot because
you don't know.
what are your
You're not basing it off anything.
exactly what are
Right.
you basing it off of? Your criteria, like
Other than history, though, as well.
yeah,
I mean,
and that's all they're really using now.
yeah.
That's the other challenge of this game is they all you even though if you don't know the person, you might have watched their season and know their gameplay, their style a little bit. So that makes it more difficult
Right.
to try to pick apart how they're playing. Like, are they doing what they did before? Are they changing it up? Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, if you guys have nothing else,
I got nothing.
I think
else.
we're good.
Yeah.
until next week.
See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.